This video, I'll show you some of the rarest awesome melees. Now, before we continue, only a small percentage of people that watches my videos are actually subscribed. So if you've not been enjoying this video, consider subscribing and liking. Enjoy the video. So as you guys know, last week I made a video about the rarest awesome skins, and in that video I said that I make a video about the rarest awesome melees if that video gets support, and it did. So let's begin. So the first melee I'd like to show you guys is the Gaster Blaster melee. So this is basically a melee based off Undertale. This is an extremely rare exclusive melee which is a part of the Scrapped bundle. The melee is pretty much dev exclusive and only developers have it, but there's one exception. Since Fusion Jack also owns the Gaster Blaster melee, I'm pretty sure they are the only non-developer player to own the Gaster Blaster melee, so that's pretty dope. Now let's move on to the melee. Yeah, that's the actual melee's name. So this is a custom melee made for buildings. He's an awesome Discord moderator and he has his own custom melee. The melee is pretty much just his profile picture blob character thingy, and it's pretty cool. This knife is exclusive to buildings, but there are 3 regular players who also own this melee. A while back, Buildings hosted some art drawing contest in its Discord server with 3 winners, and those 3 winners, they got the melee in game as a prize. And also a fun little fact about this melee is every time that you hit something with it, it just makes this ouch noise. I'm gonna play the noise too right now. Personally, I think that sound can get a little bit annoying if you play too much with it, but yeah, overall it's still a very cool melee and it's still extremely rare. And now let's move on to this melee. So this melee is called Frog. It's dev exclusive and it's pretty cool. It's just a frog. It's just a big frog. I believe this was made by Skapta because he pretty much just likes frogs. He's the guy who made the frog event in Arsenal, if you guys remember that. So yeah, it's a big possibility that he made this melee for himself. And now let's move on to the Arsenal Creator Tournament melee, aka the ACT melee. This melee is exclusive to people who won the tournament. So far there are only 8 people who have this melee because they won it in the tournament. Now let's move on to the moderation melee. This melee is exclusive to Awesome moderators, hence the name moderation melee. This melee I'm pretty sure is based off some superhero, but I don't know man. And one cool fact about this melee is that each time you switch to it, it makes this noise. I personally don't like this feature, but hey, I don't even own this melee, so that's not any of my problems. Also, another fact about it is that inspect is just broken in this melee. So like each time you inspect the knife in game, it just disappears. Now let's move on to the dark card. This melee is developer exclusive. In this picture by an awesome contractor, we can see Xone using the dark card. In game, when you use this knife, it actually has this very cool purple sparkle effect. And now let's talk about the origin of this melee and everything. So this melee is based off the sword fighting game in Roblox. So Awesome, they basically took that game and made it into game mode. You can actually play it in Awesome. In that game mode, there's all of the knives, and when you play in that game mode with those melees, they actually have some weird buffs. So this melee, it doesn't have any of that. Xone, he basically made this melee. He wanted it the dark card from the game mode, just without the buffs and all of the stuff. So he just took that and made it into a normal Awesome melee. And also, Castles, for example, he has the firebrand. I mean, he used to. I don't know if he does have it anymore, but he basically gave himself the firebrand from the Awesome sword fighting game mode, and he kept all of the buffs and everything. So that technically does not count as a melee. It counts like a third sword or third gun, if that makes any sense. Technically, all of those swords that you see on the screen right now and the rest of the sword fighting swords from the sword fighting game mode in Awesome, they technically are not melees, but if the developers or contractors like Xone want to make them into melees, they can. And the dark card is a living proof for that. I mean, Xone just took it from the game mode and turned it into a melee. Also, just to clarify, in case you see like any exploiters with the dev swords, for example, I've seen one and I made a video about it because I thought it was cool. But yeah, just know that those exploiters, they don't really own those. And now that I showed you the super rare exclusive melees, let's move on to some still rare melees, but just way less. So the melees I'm going to show you guys now are event exclusive or melees that used to be obtainable. Starting first with this melee, it's called the Rubber Hammer, and it's basically the melee from Halloween. You can also use this melee in like Clown Infection. You can see that when you become a clown. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And now moving on to the OG Scythe. This is a really cool melee. When you could obtain this in the first Halloween update, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it's a cool melee. And now with the Bloxy melee. So this is actually a pretty funny story. So this is a melee that you got with a skin and like a kill effect back like a year ago when Awesome won the Bloxys. So they just gave us a code for this. But yeah, the funny thing about it is that that code was supposedly meant to be like unlimited. For some whatever reason, the code broke down and was exclusive, and after a few days and stopped working. So yeah, this melee is now considered pretty rare. And moving on to the Coal Scythe. So this is a scythe that you were able to get in the last Christmas update, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, now it's unobtainable anymore and you cannot get it anymore. And now moving on to this bat. So this bat, you could have got it in the first summer update, I'm pretty sure. There was like a ticket system. And yeah, that's actually a pretty cool melee. And I'm also pretty sure that you could have bought it like a while ago in a bundle, but I don't really remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Now moving on to the Swordfish. You could have got this in an event, but now it's unobtainable. And same with many other melees. melees, but there's actually one weird thing that Arsenal, they put like some event items, so I don't know like why are they doing that. For example, if we go to the Arsenal melee case and look at the potential items we can get, you can like see some Christmas melees, you can see some Halloween melees. So this is pretty weird. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know if that's like a mistake or intentional. Now I'm just gonna skip over all of the rest like unobtainable event melees because seriously that's not as interesting. I just showed you guys the cool ones. I'm gonna skip over the boring ones. So yeah, this was the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and watch more videos.